Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chesterton's Jest, where we keep a critical eye on faith and culture, especially within the Catholic Church today. In an age where even church teachings seem to be shifting, we're here to explore and question the ideas and changes that challenge timeless truths. Through thought-provoking, often humorous perspectives, we aim to bring clarity to conversations others might avoid, holding fast to orthodoxy with the courage to question what feels off track. If you would like to join us as we dig deeper into the faith with reverence, wit, and a touch of Chestertonian insight, you can support this channel by gently pressing the like, share, and subscribe buttons in that order, and we thank you for your support. And now, without further ado, Trent, the council that gave the modern church its backbone. Chapter 1. The Church at a Crossroads. In the 16th century, the Church was in dire straits. The Protestant Reformation had erupted like a storm, shaking the very foundations of Christendom. Heresies were spreading as rapidly as a viral scandal, and the Church appeared to be flailing about, unsure of how to respond. But then came the Council of Trent, an ecclesiastical reset that would put the Church back on course. Amidst the tumult, Trent was a clarion call for orthodoxy, a reminder that the Church had the truths it needed to stand firm in the face of opposition. Interestingly, one of the key moments leading to the urgency of Trent was the rise of the Peasants' War in 1524 to 1525. Driven by the influence of radical reformers like Thomas Müntzer, the peasantry in the Holy Roman Empire rebelled, believing that Protestant ideas about freedom could lead to an overthrow of feudal systems. This bloodshed, fueled by ideological chaos, helped catalyze the call for the Church to respond definitively to the theological uncertainty of the day. Trent emerged not merely as a theological council, but as a necessary countermeasure to the theological and political upheavals sparked by the Reformation. The Church, witnessing such turmoil, knew it could not afford to waver or compromise. Today, the Church faces similarly uncertain challenges, with modern crises that echo those of the Reformation. The pressures of relativism, secularism, and doctrinal confusion have once again left the faithful searching for answers. Just as the Church stood firm against Protestant innovations, it must stand firm today against the modern heresies that threaten to dilute its message. Trent, in all its glory, remains as relevant as ever. Chapter 2. The no-compromise attitude of Trent. Trent's greatest contribution was its unwavering refusal to compromise. It wasn't interested in appeasing the masses, nor was it concerned with political correctness. The Council's mission was clear: defend the essential doctrines of the faith and defend them without hesitation. In a time when doctrinal truth was being splintered by reformers, Trent stood firm. It wasn't just a matter of being obstinate. It was about ensuring the survival of the Church's purity and authority. Fast forward to the present day, and we see the same temptations at play. Doctrines are being twisted, watered down, or outright abandoned in favor of popular opinion. But just as Trent said no to the distortions of Protestantism, it's time for the Church to say no to the modern trends that seek to undermine her message. Trent's firm stance on doctrinal integrity is exactly what the Church needs today in the face of heresy, relativism, and secularism. Chapter 3. Trent and the Sacred Liturgy. One of the most lasting legacies of the Council of Trent is its definitive stance on the liturgy. It was not merely a matter of aesthetics or preference, it was a matter of identity. The liturgy was not something to be casually altered or diluted. Trent's work helped to cement the Mass as the unshakable pillar of Catholic life, ensuring its sacredness and universality. It understood that the liturgy was not just a ritual, but a vehicle for the sanctification of the faithful. An interesting fact, the Tridentine Mass, which emerged from the Council of Trent, was so revered that, during the French Revolution, when the Church in France faced significant opposition, one of the first things the revolutionaries targeted was the traditional Mass. The insistence on a universal liturgy was seen as a challenge to the new secular order that sought to break down religious institutions. The Church's liturgical stability became a symbol of resistance in the face of revolution, something that would become evident again in the 20th century as secular and modernist ideologies tried to reshape the Church. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of a liturgical crisis. The Mass has been subjected to all manner of changes and reinterpretations. Yet, Trent's emphasis on the unchanging nature of the Mass serves as a timely reminder that the liturgy is not our personal playground to innovate upon. It is a divine gift that should be revered, unchanged, and unaltered, as it was given to us by Christ and safeguarded by the Church. Just as Trent placed a firm emphasis on liturgical reverence, so must we. Chapter 4. Doctrine and Personal Holiness, the Double Pillars of Trent. While Trent was a bulwark of doctrinal clarity, it also understood that orthodoxy without holiness was a hollow victory. The Council reminded the faithful that the preservation of truth in doctrine must be paired with a life of personal sanctity. Without this marriage of orthodoxy and holiness, all the doctrinal victories in the world would be for naught. Trent insisted that salvation was not merely a matter of intellectual assent, but of deep, personal transformation through grace. In today's climate of doctrinal chaos, the need for a revival of personal holiness is more crucial than ever. It's not enough to defend the doctrines of the Church. The faithful must also embody those truths in their lives. The modern Church cannot merely be a fortress of intellectualism. It must be a beacon of sanctity. The example of Trent in this regard is essential. Truth and holiness must always go hand in hand. Chapter 5. The Modern Church's Need for a Return to Trent. The Church today finds itself beset by forces that threaten to undermine its core message. Modernism, relativism, and secularism continue to infiltrate, and the faithful are left wondering where the solid ground of truth has gone. But if we look back to Trent, we find a council that was not afraid to stand in defiance of these very same forces. It was a council that said no to compromise and yes to the enduring truths of the faith. It was a council that knew that, without truth, the Church would fall apart. In a telling historical moment, the Catholic Reformation, a direct result of Trent's decrees, not only revitalized the Church, but also led to the founding of the Jesuit order in 1540. Under the leadership of St. Ignatius of Loyola, the Jesuits would become one of the most instrumental forces in the defense of Catholicism during the Age of Enlightenment and beyond. Trent's influence in nurturing the Counter-Reformation was not just doctrinal, but it was about a renewed zeal for spreading the faith in the face of hostile ideologies. In a similar vein, the modern Church cannot afford to merely defend itself against secular forces. It must be active in its mission to evangelize, to teach, and to sanctify. The Church must return to the spirit of Trent, not just in defense of its truths, but in actively proclaiming them with vigor and holiness. Chapter 6. Conclusion. The eternal relevance of Trent. The Council of Trent was not merely a product of its time. It was a declaration of timeless principles that have continued to serve the Church well for over 450 years. In today's crisis-ridden Church, we would do well to heed its lessons. In a world where relativism reigns, where truth is up for negotiation, And where the faith is too often watered down to fit the whims of modern sensibilities, Trent remains a beacon of clarity. It calls us back to the fundamentals: truth, tradition, sanctity, and unwavering resolve. So let us look to Trent not as a relic of the past, but as a model for the future. Let us stand firm, just as the Church did in the 16th century, and guard the faith with the same unyielding courage. For, as Trent showed us, when the Church stands firm in truth, it stands stronger than ever. And when the world challenges us, we can say, as Trent did, "No, we are not changing." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video and share our passion for defending the true faith with a touch of humour, be sure to head over to chestertonsjest.com and check out our collection of bold, pro-Catholic graphic tees designed to spark conversation and inspire conviction. Whether you're looking to wear your faith proudly or share a laugh, we've got something for everyone. Visit us today and join the movement, because in times like these, it's more important than ever to stand firm in our beliefs with style and wit. As Chesterton once said, "A madman is not someone who has lost his reason. A madman is someone who has lost everything except his reason." So let's keep our reason and our faith intact together. Thanks for listening. God bless you, and may the good Lord be praised.